Hi everyone. Imagine a piece of software that doesn't need you to click a link, download an attachment, or even open a file to infect your computer. All it needs is for you to plug in a USB drive. In the world of cybersecurity, this is known as an autorun worm. While it might sound like a threat from the past, it remains one of the most effective ways for malware to jump across air-gapped systems, computers that aren't even connected to the internet. Today, we're going to break down how these worms work, look at some of history's most famous attacks, and most importantly, how you can stay protected. To understand the worm, we have to look at a legitimate Windows feature called autorun. Originally, this was designed for convenience. When you popped a CD or a USB into your computer, Windows would look for a tiny text file called autorun.inf. This file told the computer, hey, run this setup program immediately or display this specific icon. The autorun worm hijacks this process. When an infected USB is plugged in, the worm has already placed a malicious version of that autorun.inf file in the root directory. The moment the OS reads that file, it silently executes the worm's malicious code in the background. You won't see a window pop up. You won't see a loading bar. By the time you've opened your folders to look at your photos or documents, the system is already compromised. This isn't just a theoretical threat. Some of the most significant cyber attacks in history relied on this exact method. Take Conficker, for example. Discovered in 2008, it became one of the largest botnets in history, infecting millions of computers. It used the autorun feature to spread like wildfire across office networks via thumb drives. Then there's Stuxnet. This was a sophisticated cyber weapon designed to target Iran's nuclear program. Because the facility's computers were not connected to the internet, the attackers used infected USB drives. An unsuspecting employee likely plugged a drive in, and the autorun mechanism allowed the worm to bridge the physical gap and reach the internal industrial sensors. Finally, we have agent.btz, which breached U.S. military networks in 2008. It started with a single thumb drive left in a parking lot. Once it was plugged in, the worm used the autorun trigger to install itself and began scanning for classified data. It took the Pentagon nearly 14 months to fully clear the infection. So, how do you know if you've been hit? Autorun worms are notoriously sneaky. They often disable your hidden file settings so you can't see the malicious files on your drive. They might also block your access to the task manager or the registry editor to prevent you from killing the process or deleting the virus. If your computer suddenly feels sluggish, or if you notice strange files named autorun.inf or random.exe files appearing on your USB drives that you didn't put there, you likely have an infection. The good news is that modern versions of Windows have significantly restricted autorun, but it's not completely gone. Here is your checklist for staying safe. First, disable AutoPlay in your Windows settings. This ensures that no drive ever runs a program without your explicit permission. Second, never plug in a USB drive if you don't know exactly where it came from.